fourth part of this introduction, my brothers and my sisters, I'm going to mention the pillars of the wudu without going into too much detail. In the other text that I'm going to be teaching, I'm going to mention the evidences and the technicalities, but at this moment in time, we're not going to do that. The pillars of the wudu are 6. The pillars of the wudu are 6. As we're going to, inshallah ta'ala, take later on as well, you have something called the bare minimum. And then also you have a complete version of the wudu of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But these are pillars. You know how you have 4 pillars of a house? What happens if you break one of the pillars? The whole house is going to crumble, right? You have to come with these pillars. And there is no excuse. If an individual forgets, he would have to come back and do them, even if he ended up finishing his prayer. Likewise, if an individual now, out of ignorance, he just finished his wudu and he left one of the pillars. Somebody says to him, you didn't wash your face, which is from the pillars, right? And he goes, oh, I didn't know. We say to him, you have to go back and do your wudu again. So what are the 6 pillars? Very, very quickly. Number 1, and we're going to go through, inshallah ta'ala, the order that is mentioned in the verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Because this is where the pillars have been taken from. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Allah says, oh, you who believe, when you stand up for the salah, then wash your face. This is pillar number 1. Washing your face. And where is the face? It's where your hair would normally start. Here. Where your hair would normally start. And this is a key word, normally start. Okay? Because sometimes you have an abnormal hairline. Or an individual's hairline might go halfway through his head. And do we say then you have to start from there and all the way up to your chin? The answer is no. Where your hairline would normally start. That should be underlined. All the way up to your chin. That's vertically. And horizontally, you have from this area in between your sideburns and also the ears. So that area is called the bayad. So that's horizontally up to here. And this is the common mistake that people tend to leave off. So all of that needs to be washed. All of that needs to be washed. What does al-ghasl mean? When Allah Azza wa Jalla told us to wash it, and this is very, very important. And when you learn about differences, it makes things very, very clear for you. When we say washing, guys, هو جريان الماء على العضو. It is to make the water flow on that part of the body. If you understand that, then you will know how to make wudu. Because what tends to happen sometimes, the individual starts wiping. No, the water has to flow on that part of the body. And then you have masih, which we're going to come into inshallah ta'ala when I mention the 3rd pillar. So you have the face that needs to be washed. We'll speak about the beard later on inshallah ta'ala. I'm sure some of you guys are itching at this point saying, how can I wash my beard? Is the beard part of it? Is it not? طيب. But let's just take things easy inshallah ta'ala. Second thing, فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. The second pillar is washing your hands all the way up to your elbows included. So, from the tip of your hand, all the way up to your elbows included. Okay? And the water, like we mentioned, al-ghasl, to wash means to make that water flow on that part of the body. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, mentioning to us the 3rd pillar, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. Wipe your heads. He never said your hair. He said wipe your heads. Okay? So you wipe the head from where your hairline would normally start. And the reason why we say head and not hair is because some people don't have hair. So if you don't have hair, you're not going to wipe the head. So you have to make sure that you wipe the head. Okay? And we'll speak about, inshallah ta'ala, later, rinsing the mouth, rinsing the nose and the ears as well, because the ears are part of the head. It is part of the pillar. Okay? So when you wipe your head, you also have to wipe the ears as well. And this comes under the third pillar, inshallah ta'ala. And al-masih, my brothers and my sisters, huwa imraru al-yadi al-mablulati ala al-udhu. It is to pass wet hands on that part of the body that you've been told to wipe. So now you understand the difference, right? You have al-ghasl and you have al-masih. Al-ghasl, it is to make the water flow on that part of the body. Al-masih, to wipe, it is to imraru al-yadi al-mablulati ala al-udhu. It is to pass wet hands over that part of the body. So if you just do this, and then that's fine. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. And then also wash your feet up to your ankles included. And that is pillar number 4. And you have to make sure that every part needs to be washed from the things that you've been told to wash. If there is a size of a nail or a coin that hasn't been washed with water on that which you have been told to wash, then your wudu will be rendered invalid. So that's the 4 pillars, right? Pillar number 5. It has to be in order. If you think about it for a moment here, in this ayah that we just mentioned, we took 2 things that were washed, and then 1 thing that was wiped, and then the 4th thing that was washed. So the mamsuh, that which needs to be wiped, has been sandwiched with that which needs to be washed. When Allah Azza wa Jal could have easily mentioned that right at the end, that clearly shows us that Allah wanted it to be in this order. Because He mentioned 2 things that need to be washed, the 3rd thing that needs to be wiped, and then the 4th thing that needs to be washed. When He could have put all of the things that need to be washed to one side, and that which needs to be wiped to another side. So it has to be in order, and that's a pillar. And then the last pillar, my brothers and my sisters, is that each part that needs to be washed or wiped from the things that one needs to come with in the wudu, it has to be followed up with that which comes before it. So you have to do it one after the other. Meaning you can't go have a half an hour picnic in the park and then you say, oh, let me come back and then continue with my wudu again. No, it doesn't work like that. Or you get on your phone and then you start sending text messages, so much so that the part before that becomes dry. So these are the 6 pillars, simplified, even though we can go into so much detail. There's been times where it took me 2 hours to explain all of these 6 and the inner details and the intricates and the technicalities. But this is a very simplified version of the 6 pillars. So that is now 4 things that we have taken with regards to this introduction.